Eles estão aqui ainda. Olha, olha. É só ali, gente.
Eu tô sentindo um negócio muito louco na barriga, puxando a barriga assim, ó.
Aqui não dá pra ver.
Olha, vida, é muito louco. Não tem nada no céu. Gente, olha, não tem nada. Nada no céu. Nada no céu. E o negócio tá mexendo lá, ó.
E tá mexendo só ali. Ele começou lá no canto, agora ele chegou bem perto do círculo. Não é possível que tá mexendo só ali, amor. Andando. Tá andando, Henrique.
Tá bom.
Na boa, pra mim isso daí é a maior prova de vida extraterrestre que tem. Ai, chegou bem pertinho, ó. E tá mexendo lá dentro agora.
2, 1.
Vocês conseguem ver? Olha, dá pra ver certinho, gente. Eu tô passada. Tipo, eles estão aqui ainda. Olha, olha. É só ali, gente. Continua. Ó, o Crop Circle tá aqui e o vórtice de energia tá indo pro outro lado. Tô ficando com bastante tontura.
Welcome back with another banger. Hit that like, sub it up, don't react, bounce. Hit that like, sub it up, don't react, bounce. Y'all feel me? Let's run it.
Nobody wants to talk about covert agendas hidden behind 1,000 pages of political jargon and some irrelevant bill that they know the average person will never read. Nobody wants to talk about the silent killer, the food industry, slowly feeding you poison. Over the course of decades, your children, your parents, things outlawed and banned in other countries entirely. Why are we eating them? And why is it under the guise of the food industry being your best friend? Food pyramid this, 3 daily meals that. I know for a fact nobody wants to talk about why there were more redactions in those files than there were brain cells in the guy probably helping pull the strings behind it all. And I know none of you want to talk about why it's been 6 years and there's no indictments. Why nobody's been indicted 6 years later. 6 years later, and not a single indictment. How deep does it go? How deep does the ring of scumbags go? How could you still be protecting these sick motherfuckers after they were turning inside out, allegedly, and eating their insides? I mean, what the fuck are we talking about? What is going on? What world do we live in? Where's the Batman?
Charlie Kirk's last video was titled Enough is Enough. It was posted on September 9th and it's actually a video of Trump, but why does this even matter? Well, there's this game that came out in the 90s called the Illuminati New World Order, and one of the cards in it is a picture of a man who does look like Trump, I will say, but the point is that the card is titled Enough is Enough, and the first thing it says on the card is, at any place, at any time, our snipers can drop you. That card game has predicted a lot, but that one, that's a little weird. That's really weird to me. Anyways, this is my driver. Our snipers can drop you? Is that a threat? I think that's a threat. And that's Charlie's last video. And it's Trump. I'm gonna post the card so you can see.
Ain't no way. That's wild. Shout out to Swaggy Laggy Golf Daddy. His last post was enough is enough. Just like the card game. That card game's a fool. The Illuminati card game. Damn. This is one of the oddest of all coincidences, if you ask me. Yo, I know y'all usually skip these ads, but don't skip this one because Free Cash is actually legit and they're the ones supporting this video. Free Cash is this program where you can literally earn real money just for trying out apps and games. It's 100% free to sign up. All you need is an email and password. Inside, you'll see a list of games with tasks like reach level 5 or complete a few missions. Once you do that, they credit your account. Those credits turn into real cash. You can cash out through PayPal, crypto, or gift cards. And no, they don't sell your data. They just track your progress so they know how to pay you. The reason this works is because the games pay Free Cash to get new players, and Free Cash shares that money with you. That's how people are making $5, $10, sometimes even more just playing a few games in their free time. So yeah, this ad actually helps support my channel, and it's something I use myself. There's literally nothing to lose. It's free, it's fast, it's paying real people every day. Hit the link or scan the QR code, try a couple games, and DM me when you cash out. I want to see who's running it up next.
This is day 2 of me trying to convince you that Jeffrey Epstein was performing sex magic rituals to summon entities using the methods of Aleister Crowley. Yesterday, I covered how Epstein was collecting sacred objects from different religious traditions and using them to charge his properties for ritual. The esoteric principle is called the law of contagion, and it basically says that sacred objects absorb the energy of everyone who has ever prayed or channeled energy into them. The first object that he stole was ancient Pueblo petroglyphs near his home, and this is also where 2 women were allegedly buried after rough fetish sex left them dead. The second item he stole was a Catholic funeral bell called the Las Trampas death bell. It was installed in a New Mexico mission church in 1760, and then it was stolen from that church in 1930s. And it went completely missing until suddenly it ends up at Jeffrey Epstein's ranch. This bell was only ever rung during Catholic funeral masses, so you can imagine the type of spiritual energy that collects on a bell from 170 years worth of grief. The third item was 3 pieces of the kishwa, which is the cloth that covers the most sacred site in all of Islam, the Kaaba. The Kaaba is said to be the first house of worship built by Adam, the first man, and then rebuilt by Abraham. It also houses the black stone, which was given to Adam by the angel Gabriel. Originally, it was pure white, but it has turned completely black because it's absorbed so much sin. The kishwa, which Epstein somehow received, is the black and gold cloth that covers the Kaaba in Mecca. The woman who sent this cloth to Epstein said it had been touched by 10 million Muslims in active prayer. Now, when you put all of this together, Epstein had ritual stones from one of the oldest religions on earth, a death bell only rung for Catholic funerals, and cloth from the holiest site in Islam. The mixing of different religious traditions like this is an esoteric framework. This is how he charged his spaces for ritualistic sex. Tomorrow, I will show you how he used Crowley's exact building plans to construct the temple on his island, and it only gets weirder from here. Subscribe so you don't miss it, or you can check out my full documentary on my YouTube channel.
He must have been doing something. That's wild. It's like, why would he have all them artifacts in the first place? Shout out to TJ MCM. Seems it's all about magic and spirituality when it comes to these elites.
Okay? Nochmals. So, let's go. Die ersten 4 Meter sind gemauert für die Sicherheit. The first 4 meters, you have a fixed
This guy puts a bell in a vacuum chamber and then pounds this bell as hard as he possibly can. And you cannot hear any sound whatsoever. But take a look at what happens when he adds air back into the chamber.
And as we let the air in, now I think you can hear the bell quite clearly. And that's a very nice experiment to demonstrate how air is needed for the transmission of sound.
Air is needed for the transmission of sound. So with this being said, why don't we take a look at this spacewalk where we can hear sound in the vacuum of outer space, which makes literally no sense at all. What medium is this traveling through in the void of outer space? That doesn't make any sense at all. It literally sounds like they're underwater. They're probably just filming underwater and they have a green screen Earth and they're just LARPing being in space. Because you need a physical medium for the sound wave to pass through. Because it passes through the physical particles and causes a vibration. That's how sound even gets to you. And that's why sound can travel faster in water, because it has a denser medium to pass through. Sound travels even faster going through metal. But I made this video for entertainment purposes only. Of course, sound can travel in a vacuum.
Are they swimming in a green swimming pool? That's wild. That's a wild thought. Shout outs to Holistic Health Nut 33. That was a great experiment. I wonder who's that scientist.
Right, you've got UFO bases, you've got portals, you've got animal mutilations and inner earth entrances. But what interests me the most are the portals, because where the fuck do they go, right? Listen, a portal is a point where the barrier between our world and something else gets thin. Thin enough that things and people can pass through, right? Every ancient civilization had a word for it. The Egyptians called it the duat. The Celts called them thin places. Native Americans called them doorways to the lower world. They didn't share notes, so how did they land all on the same idea? Let's talk about some famous portals, right? Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. You have UFOs, you have interdimensional entities, right? Cattle mutilations. The government bought it. Why is that, right? Sedona, Arizona, right? 4 confirmed vortexes. People report about losing time, feeling electric, seeing things. And then you, of course, have the Bermuda Triangle, right? Ships, planes, people, no wreckage, no bodies, just gone. The one that gags me the most is the San Luis Valley, right? It's where Native Americans said that their ancestors crawled out of an underworld through a lake, where the first animal mutation in U.S. history happened in 1967, where a UFO watchtower sits on a road that locals call the Cosmic Highway, and where a woman who called herself a clairvoyant moved specifically because of the energy levels there, and then she vanished from a full moon drum circle and was never seen again. But we'll talk about that next time.
A full moon jump circle. I've never even heard of that. Shout out to Holy Kayla. This fascinating theory right here. I'm starting to wonder if these UFO classified files somehow connect to the files that we got but were already redacted. If you catch my drift. Maybe that's why we don't have them yet.
The elites are being called the predator class now? I don't think that fits. Okay, let's change the subject to mythology. In vampiric myth, they cannot feed on your blood until you invite them into your house. So vampires depend on trickery, trick or treat indeed. This lore can be equated to the ramifications of temptation. You enjoy the treat that is instant here and now, but then come to find out the candy, carnal pleasures, were a trick. And you're the one being fed upon. Both parasites and demonic possession are introduced in the same way. They're limited to the same set of rules. Invitation through naivety, because ignorance is what sin is. How interesting is it that both vampires and parasites are deathly afraid of garlic, clove, sunlight, silver and copper, and what's the other thing that they fear? Oh, that's right. A good old-fashioned crucifix. Demonic possession has a long mythic history. As long as men have been on 2 feet, certain ones have succumbed to being completely subjugated by sheer negative energy, loosely called evil. Similar to trickery, the demon chooses his host based on his being weak. As the collective dream of all mankind, mythology cannot lie. The reason a man, any man at all, with absolutely no exceptions, is apt to let evil enter his heart to conduct deeds of ill intent on purpose is because he is weak, frail, and pathetic. We are not talking about theft here. This has nothing to do with survival to kill or be killed. That's not what evil is concerned with. Evil yearns to harm others in an attempt to make others just as weak and pathetic. Every rape and molestation, all the way to a CEO who stashes his already plump pocket by cutting off his employees' means to afford a living, all fall under the same umbrella: weakness and a desperate lack of character. Vampires don't appear in mirrors. This equates to the parasitical men. Looking in the mirror brings them shame and disgust, as well as it should. But instead of having the courage to face that inner turmoil to alchemize it properly, they spill it out onto others by harming and taking from them. Not to gain anything for themselves, but just and only to bring others down to their subhuman parasitical level. If these weaklings band together secretly as a parasite class, they would be able to take over in the same way as all of the above do. Invitation through ignorance. Hey, this short form content is kind of for the birds. If you want to come on in, I've got an hour-long episode waiting for you.
Now that was deep. Had me thinking about the movie Sinners. Shout out to Library of the Untold. Yo, the similarities is wild. Can't see themselves in mirrors. Hate garlic. Very fascinating stuff right here.
The following footage comes from a group of deep-sea fishermen out of Mexico. They were out fishing when something weird started circling their boat and attempting to steal their fish that they were reeling in. And it's something they've never seen before. This is a weird shark, fish. They called it a fish, but we don't know what it is. Take a look at this. Comment below and let us know if you know what this thing is.
Apunta más profundo. Creo que vienen más. Está pesado. Mira, los dientes, mira. Suelta un poco. ¿Qué coño hacemos con esto? No sé, pero no lo quiero gordo.
Man, what in the world was that? Shout out to the Paranormal Link. That ain't look like no shark to me. Yo, I don't know what in the world that was. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. Let's talk about the most recent mud flood. The New Madrid earthquakes of 1811 and 1812 affected up to 2 million square miles of America. Basically, every area east of the Mississippi felt these earthquakes. The vibrations rang church bells over 1,000 miles away. I'm going off of first-hand accounts here, and the earth was literally turned into waves, shooting columns of sand and other materials up to 10 feet in the air. Large swaths of land sunk up to 50 feet. Entire towns were buried or swallowed in the mud. The Mississippi River rose at least 15 feet and began to flow backwards. Seismoluminescence from the quartz beneath the surface created orbs and flashes of light from the ground. Some claim there was an underground storm or underground thunder or even explosions beneath the surface. The Mississippi supposedly even boiled over. Look. Even some of the mounds or earthworks were submerged under the mud. Similar to the Mayan temples and pyramids, which were also buried from a mud flood, only the Mayan ones were largely reconstructed and restored. And it's important to remember some of these Mississippi River civilizations were bigger than London. The entire region was reshaped from these earthquakes. Some places flooded and were turned into swamps instantly, and the earth split and cracked for miles in some instances. Some of these cracks in the earth were too deep to climb out. Some areas were completely dissolved from liquefaction. And the earthquakes weren't limited to the Mississippi Valley, as a series of earthquakes hit the West Coast at the same time as well. Look. Similar to the massive West Coast earthquake around 1700. It even caused a tsunami that the natives said was high like a mountain. And of course, this coincided with Tecumseh's comet, one of many omens. Tecumseh even predicted the earthquakes themselves, which gave him momentum in gaining forces for the War of 1812. Supposedly, it was an exact fulfillment of his prediction. And the War of 1812 was really a continuation of the Northwest Indian War and the American Revolution, which was a slave uprising. These were the reset wars that preceded the natural reset. Then there's a year without a summer where a volcano blocks out the sun for a lot of the world. Geologists claim these events happen routinely, and there was one that happened in the 1400s as well. Obviously, there is much more beneath the surface than we are led to believe. There are civilizations on top of civilizations on top of civilizations, and this is just what can be identified clearly. The Grand Canyon is not what we are told. The timeline doesn't add up. The stratigraphy reveals that there are hundreds of millions of years missing in the projected age of the Grand Canyon. That's because the Grand Canyon has gone through multiple resets, whereas Petra here is clearly showing you that it is a melted building because it's younger. Let's look at the stages. You can see this building here is a lot younger and hasn't gone through many resets, but there is obviously heat damage throughout this building being displayed. When does the brick end and the mountain begin? This is all one structure with a pocket of survival. Clearly melted building. This entire mountain range was a metropolis. This is Ecuador. This is all over the world. Partly melted. Nobody carved this. Nobody built this unlevel, intricate building in the side of a mountain. The mountains were buildings. The biggest cave on Earth is near the New Madrid earthquake zone. America is the real old world. Buildings. Look. Look. Shouts to Taylor Durden. That's wild. I do agree that they're melted buildings and there's civilizations stacked on top of civilizations, especially conspiracies of the Grand Canyon. But the question is, what is it that made these structures melt? Like, yo, especially if the sun was blacked out.
Flat earthers cannot be Freemasons. Flat earthers cannot be Freemasons. That's just what it is. That's what it is.
And it even admits to you on page 850 of Morals and Dogma. It says, return now with us to the degrees of the blue masonry, and for your last lesson, receive the explanation of one of their symbols. You see on the altar there, the degrees of the square and the compass? The square is an instrument adapted for plane surfaces only, and therefore appropriate to geometry, or measurement of the earth, which appears to be, and was by the ancients, supposed to be a plane, because it's a flat plane-ette. Not a round globe, spherical, oblate spheroid. It says the compass is an instrument that has relation to spheres and spherical surfaces and is adapted to spherical trigonometry, on the branch of mathematics that deals with the heavens, because the heavens is an archway, and the orbits of the planetary bodies. Don't be ignorant. The earth is flat. Taking a look inside of the Masonic Bible. If we go into one of these Masonic Bibles, you'll see that there's different content included in here. Okay, and so shortly after the questions and answers portion, we come across the definition section where it defines critical words. Let's take a look at what heaven says in the Masonic Bible. And it says, 4 Hebrew words are thus rendered. St. Paul's expression, third heaven, has led to much conjecture. The Jews divided the heaven into 3 parts. 1, the atmosphere, where clouds gather. 2, the firmament in which the sun, moon, and stars are fixed. And 3, the upper heaven, the abode of God and his angels. Earth. Planet, plane, Earth. The Earth was regarded as the universe itself. Every other body, including the heavens, the sun, the moon, and the stars, are being subsidiary to it. There seems to be traces of the idea that the world was a disk, bordered by the ocean, with Jerusalem in its center.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the shit?
You want to know what it is? It's that we're not the same. The average guy. And you billionaires, lifelong politicians, people pulling the strings, we're not the same, you and I. We cut corners to survive, to put food on the table. You cut corners to make record profits, to pinch pennies. The average person commits crimes, usually theft, out of need, out of desperation. You commit crimes against humanity to make a quick buck, to make the quarterly projected sales profit. The average person starts a business to try and put food on the table, a roof over their head, gets taxed into oblivion, goes bankrupt trying to get off the ground, and you loophole monopoly laws, avoid paying taxes, all in the name of profit. Are you seeing a pattern here? Do you see the pattern? Do you? They don't care. We're cattle. We're useless cattle. Wake up, people. They're listening. You want something done right, you gotta do it yourself.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed the deep dive. If you enjoyed this video, please consider to give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Shout outs to all the reactors. Thanks again. Till next time.